So much for listening to this episode of Earrings Off. We want to invite you to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. You can find us on Facebook at Earrings Off Podcast and on Instagram at The Earrings Off Podcast.
Welcome to Earrings Off. I'm Lou.
And I'm Teresa. Let's get started.
Every once in a while, a new technology comes along that doesn't just change the way we work. It changes the way we think. I believe AI is one of those technologies, and that's why today's conversation isn't really about artificial intelligence. It's about us. I want to begin today with a question. Is AI making you smarter or simply making you faster? Okay? I've been thinking about that question for a while because now I use AI almost every single day. And the more I use it, the less certain I become about the answer. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Earrings Off podcast. Today, it's just me, Teresa. And today's topic is one I've been wrestling with for several months now. It is exciting, and I'm often fascinated. And I must say, it has changed the way I work, and in many ways, the way I think. I'm talking about artificial intelligence. Now, before you assume this is going to be just another conversation about whether AI is good or bad, let me stop you right there. This isn't that podcast. In fact, before I go any further, I have a confession. I want you to understand that I like it. I like AI. Now, I wasn't always this way. In the beginning, I was very skeptical. As many of you know, my career is in IT, right? And on the subject of AI, I've attended conferences, workshops, demonstrations, I've read books, I've followed the research, and even with all that, I wasn't convinced, but something changed. I went from being a casual user to someone who uses it almost every day when I think about it. I use it to help with brainstorming. I use it to help me organize my ideas. I use it to help me flesh out my writing even. I use it to help me prepare presentations. And yeah, it helps to challenge my thinking, right? As someone who spent an entire career watching technology evolve, I can honestly say AI is one of the most exciting technologies I've experienced. But somewhere along the way, I noticed something. The more I used it, the more one question keeps coming back to me. Is AI making me smarter? Or is it simply making me more efficient? Those aren't necessarily the same thing. And that's what I want to explore with you today. Technology has always changed us. Like, this is not new to us. We've been here before. Think about it. Calculators, when they became common, people worried we'd forget how to do math. Can you believe it? When the GPS arrived, people said that we'd lose the sense of direction. Now, you've heard me say on this podcast, I am challenged when it comes to directions, even with that GPS. But anyway, I digress. Think about Google. When it became the biggest search engine, people joke that we wouldn't need to remember anything, that we could just Google it. And today, I've heard people saying, I graduated from YouTube University. So some of our fears, I believe, have been overblown, and some weren't, because every technology gives us something, and every technology asks us to give something back. The question is, what is AI asking us to give up? Can I tell you what surprised me? When I first started using AI, I thought all I had to do was type in a prompt and somehow it would magically know exactly what I wanted. It didn't. Not even close. Sometimes the responses were very generic. Sometimes they completely missed the point. And yes, sometimes they were just simply wrong. Then, one afternoon, I was working on a presentation. I asked AI for help. The first response, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't quite what I was looking for. So I rewrote the prompt. I explained my audience. I gave it a lot more context. I told it what I wanted people to feel, not just what I wanted them to know. The second response was dramatically better, and that's when it hit me. AI wasn't reading my mind. It was responding to the quality of my thinking. Then I learned something I'll probably never forget. The quality of the answer depends on the quality of the prompt. Okay? And then I realized maybe that's true outside of AI too. Think about it. The quality of our conversations often depends on the quality of our questions. The quality of our relationships depends on the questions we're willing to ask each other. Think about it. Great leaders ask great questions. Great coaches even ask great questions. You get the point. Maybe AI isn't teaching us how to use technology. Maybe it's reminding us how powerful curiosity has always been. Prompting is a skill. It's not just typing words in a box. It requires thought. You have to think, right? It requires clarity and it requires context. You have to know what you're trying to accomplish. And when the answer isn't quite right, you don't give up. You ask a better question. You refine your thinking. I've learned that the better my prompts become, the better my results are. And then another thought occurred to me. Maybe AI isn't replacing thinking. Maybe it's demanding a different kind of thinking. I actually think prompting is becoming the next form of literacy. Yeah, I said it. But think about it, okay? There was a time when literacy simply meant learning to read and write. Then digital literacy became essential. We had to learn how to use computers. We had to learn how to search the internet. We had to learn how to evaluate information. We had to learn how to protect ourselves online. And now I'm thinking we're just entering another era. Knowing how to communicate effectively with AI is becoming a real workplace skill. Universities are weaving AI and prompt engineering into their curricula. And employers are actively looking for people who know how to work effectively with these tools. Workplaces are even encouraging people to use AI to become more efficient in their jobs. It's kind of remarkable when you think about it. 5 years ago, most of us had never even heard of the phrase prompt engineering. Today, people are building careers around it. Here's the really interesting part: you can't become a great prompter without becoming a strategic thinker. Now, isn't that interesting? The technology everybody worried would stop us from thinking may actually reward the people who think the best. Can I be honest with you for a second? This isn't really a podcast about artificial intelligence. It's a podcast about human intelligence, because AI isn't forcing us to stop thinking. It's forcing us to decide what's worth thinking about. I've started wondering if the future belongs less to the people who know the most and more to the people who think the best, because AI has made information cheap. Wisdom is still expensive. Wisdom doesn't come from a chatbot. It comes from experience. It comes from making mistakes. It comes from listening, relationships, discernment, and living. Here's what I'd like you to consider. If AI writes every email, have you become a better communicator or simply a faster one? If AI summarizes the books you read, are you still learning to think deeply or simply consuming information? If AI plans your vacation, writes every presentation, creates every meal plan, answers every question, what parts of your own mind stop getting exercise? I'm not saying AI is bad. I use it far too much to make that argument. I'm simply wondering if our brains, like muscles, need resistance. Because we all know what happens when we stop using a muscle. It weakens. Could the same thing happen with curiosity, critical thinking, creativity? I don't know, but I think it's worth asking. Here's what I hope we choose instead. I hope AI eliminates busy work so we can spend more time doing meaningful work. I hope it handles repetitive tasks so we can become more creative. I hope it gives us time back so we can build better relationships and have better conversations, to read more deeply, to think more intentionally, and to spend more time with the people we love. Technology should make us more human, not less. So here's my challenge for you. The next time you're about to ask AI to do something, don't hit enter just yet. Pause. Ask yourself, is this helping me avoid thinking or helping me to think better? Because those two things are very different. Then let me leave you with one final question. What parts of your thinking should you never outsource? And I want you to think about that. Maybe it's your values, your empathy, your creativity. Those are things that make you, you. For years, we've measured intelligence by how many answers a person had. Maybe in the age of AI, intelligence will be measured by the quality of the questions we ask. And if that's true, perhaps learning how to prompt AI isn't just about mastering a new technology. It's about rediscovering one of humanity's oldest skills, curiosity. So, I'll leave you where we began. Is AI making you smarter or simply making you faster? And maybe the most important question of all, what part of your thinking should never be outsourced? Think about that. Thank you for spending these moments with me. If this conversation challenged your thinking, I'd love for you to share it with a friend, a coworker, or a family member. Not just because I have all the answers, but because I believe these are exactly the conversations we need to be having as technology continues to evolve. Until next time, stay curious, keep asking great questions, and remember, technology is at its best when it helps us become fully human. Take good care.